Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down. It's time for another episode of the Truth or Therapy Sessions. I am 24 hours and 8 minutes late, because I usually do this on a Sunday. So for Mod 17, they're complaining about having to wait just a mere 8 minutes. Think of all those poor souls who expected this to happen 24 hours ago. But I'm here now. You know, the kids are asleep. I've got my water, everything's set up, and, you know, I've been busy. I've been busy, as you can tell. I've not posted a video in quite a while, since last Wednesday, because life has just got in the way. You know how it is. And, you know, I've been introspective. I've been going on long walks in nature. I've been working on some other things. And I'm here now, and that's what counts, right? That's all that matters. And I thought, what can I do for fun as I come back? What can we do to spice things up a little bit, make things a bit more interesting? And I remembered that not that long ago, maybe half a year ago or so, give or take, I did a fun little thing, which I would like to do again, because I have a copy of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns right here. I have someone who may be buying this one. They never really got back to me on my email, but I do have one spare. And I know that much. So let's have some fun with this one book. Let's do a prize draw giveaway. And maybe this is to make up some of the funds I may have lost by not posting anything in like 5 days. And who can blame me on that one? But also, I do remember it being really tense and fun for everybody involved last time. And just a bit of extra for the live show. Just had a bit of tension, a bit of skin in the game for all of you guys listening there. So let me lay down the rules for you while you're rolling in. And I will be repeating these as much as I can. They are also pinned in the chat. But the rules are, $5 is the minimum entry to get your name in the draw, and that's it. You can't then just do $10 or $15 or $20 and get like 2, 3, 4, 5 draws in or anything like that. Anything above still counts as one entry. If you do want to pay for somebody else to be in the draw, make that clear in your comments, the name of the person you want to pay for. So if you do $10, you say 5 is for me, the other 5 is for whoever, then I will incorporate them in the final draw. And what I'll do, I'll put you into a random name generator, and it's a spin the wheel thing, and you'll all watch it live, and the wheel will spin, and it'll randomly just land on one of the people, whoever donated into the draw. And that's it. You get a signed copy of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns sent to me, all paid for, all done, and I'll sign it in this office, package it here, and send it to your address. You just email me after the show, and we'll get it all sorted straight away. And that's it, guys. That's the game. That's the fun that's going to be running throughout this entire show today. So get your entries in. It's just a super chat. That's all you have to do. And yeah, let's have some fun with this. So there we go. If everyone, it is fun. It is tense, and it does make the end of the show quite interesting as well. So get involved, guys. It's a good way to support me, and obviously it's a good way to get a signed copy of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. Cheap. You got to be in it to win it. So give it a go, guys. There we go. Again, the rules, if you're unclear, are pinned in the chat. So there you go. That's the opening. That's just what we're doing. But today I also want to talk about a few other things. I've got some things rattling around in my brain. My wife is saying that she doesn't even have a signed copy, guys. You know, you're lucky to have one, aren't you? She can have the not for resale rough draft version I got sent to me ages ago instead. So she has something that's like a one of a kind. So she can complain all she wants, but she's got something unique. She's got something different. That's all. There it is. So who have we got in the chat anyway? We've got Wendy here. Looks like she's banned. The troublemaker's been deleted. So there we go. We got Rejoice Artworks in the house. Elizabeth, great to see you. Mark's here as well. Defending me there, saying I have children, he's running late, and none of us. I'm always late, guys. This is nothing new. It's actually expected for me to be at least 5 minutes late. At least 5 minutes. I've gone up to 45 minutes before, shamelessly, with no apologies, and I'm not apologizing now either. We've got Schiller's Spirit. Good to see you. We have Miss C001, good to see you too. We got Amelia in the house. MK Ryan's here too. That's good to see you guys. Got lots of regular faces and some new ones too, which is fantastic. Again, that's what I like to see. Let me just quickly check the YouTube live control panel. I have to log in. It tells me who's actually listening and who we've got. 54 people currently. Good going for a Monday evening. Is it a Monday afternoon for you guys? Maybe it's dinner time. I don't really know. For America, it varies. Or maybe you're just finishing up at work. People tell me they listen to this show in the most random of situations. Someone listens to it while they're on their tractor doing farming, I've been told. Some people listen to me to try and go to sleep. I don't know if I should be offended by that or honoured. It's whatever. We all have our people we listen to for whatever reason, don't we? And yeah, turns out I'm one of those guys now. But it's good to be here. It's good to be back. I've kind of been a bit lost in like complicated things and feelings, shall we say. I ended up going for a walk yesterday around my old stomping grounds where I kind of grew up, just on a big, long, wandering walk, making my way to the graveyard of a Catholic church where my grandma and granddad are buried. And it's 6 years ago, on the 6th of April, 2020, I lost my grandfather on my dad's side. And then my grandmother on my dad's side was a year ago on the 12th of May. So I'm around that time period. It's been a year since my grandma, 6 years since my granddad. And I was feeling introspective. You know how it is. These things come around. And I kind of wandered down there. And I managed to make it for about midday. And I was there standing over the grave, having a conversation, just checking the thing out, looking at the mess that the plastic flowers had become over the time. I really do need to replace them, is something I realised. But as I was there, just catching up, praying and the rest of it, and just thinking about my life in general, and kind of like comparing their relationship that they had compared to, the people in my own life, where I am currently at my own age, where they were, and kind of the life they led compared to the life like people like me are leading at my age, And it was nice. It was a nice moment. And then the bells suddenly started to ring from the church because it was midday. And I wandered around to the front. I kind of made that my cue to leave in a way. I don't know why. And I was looking at the church this is the church they went to their entire life, pretty much. They were devout Catholic, and they went there twice a week, every Wednesday evening and every Sunday afternoon, And I'm there walking past where they would be on a Sunday, at 12. And the big doors at the front were just shut. And I was thinking to myself in the moment, like, do I go in? Do I go in and go to the service? And I went round and said, they've already shut the doors anyway. So it was like and I had this moment looking up at this giant monolithic structure, which is beautiful, by the way. And these bells ringing, it's a spring, all the trees are open, the flowers are blooming, the birds are singing. It was nice, And I was thinking, like, am I about to become a Catholic? Do I go in? Are my emotions getting the better of me on this? And I saw that the doors were shut. And I was like, maybe that's a sign that I'm not probably supposed to be in a place like this, And then as I walked around to the other side of the church to go to the exit where the gates are, turns out the door was open at the side. And maybe as I was having that thought that I shouldn't be going in there because the door is shut, I saw the open door, and it was like that serendipitous invite, come in, Paul. But I didn't, because I'm not a Catholic, and I don't think it would be honest of me to take part in that service in any way. But it was nice just to reminisce and to be there and kind of remember my grandparents and kind of go through that process. It's funny, really. I'm not totally sure when exactly I grieved for either of them, because I don't feel like I've had the time, if you get what I mean. So that was a grieving moment for me in many ways, and something to kind of think about and remember and look back on. And just that moment again with the bells ringing, the door being open and the rest of it, and kind of seeing that life is still going on for that community in that church, for whatever it is. Then I went through a walk and I went down to an old pond I used to play at as a kid, and I kind of had this catch-up moment in my own memory. It was nice. It was nice, It was a nice experience. So that's kind of something that kind of got my brain thinking again. I started thinking about the problems with like generations today, and the kind of the generational warfare that seems to be happening. But primarily it's internet stuff. I wouldn't say a lot of this is realistic warfare on the ground type of situation, but online there is a growing division between the generations that is being aired out publicly on many platforms by many people, mainly from younger generations, angry at the older generations for the situations that younger people are finding themselves in today. And I have to find myself getting swept up in that too, as a young millennial, kind of trying to deal with the shit show of an economy that we have to deal with, and the seemingly hopeless nature of our futures going forward. And it's easy to look at older generations and see the wealth they have accumulated and are clinging on to that has not come down further to our generation, and get pretty angry about the situation. And look, I am smart enough to understand that it's not necessarily their fault, these older generations. They just did exactly what they were told was the best thing to do by people in authority and powers above them who were making things good for them. And why wouldn't they do things that would benefit them at the time? Of course you would. You wouldn't really think about it, you know. And I blame bankers. I don't blame generations or old people personally. I'm more on the side of this is a planned collapse of monetary value, housing markets, and the rest of it, leading towards that you will own nothing and be happy New World Order vision that they have, where everyone's on a universal income in some kind of socialist, communist, utopic vision of hell. You know, that's what they're going for, and it was always going to go that way. I think in many ways this whole the distribution of wealth into one particular generation to then have it not trickle down into the younger generations, but more consolidated into these organizations who can afford to buy most of those assets, which are banks, you know, and that is then taking up property, which then limits the market and then drives up a renter's market and it makes it impossible to buy. And then obviously what you have are people dependent on the landowners again. You're back to barons and the rest of it once more, and the peasantry, you know. And that's exactly was the plan all along in many ways, wasn't it? To pull that ladder up. And I don't think it's fair of us to blame en masse older generations for those things. But it can certainly feel like that's the case, especially when you're not really aware of the bigger, grander picture of the conspiracy going on around us. It really is a horrible time for generational coherency and love for one another. It really is. Like, the devil's winning on this front. He is tearing people apart. He is directing people's anger towards each other rather than towards those who have kind of planned all of this. And, you know, when I was watching my grandparents, and they're of a much older generation. I'm not sure what generation they would come under before the boomers. Is it the greatest generation or the silent generation? But they were very much of the kind of people who never got into debt. They stayed together their entire life from the age of 19. They saved for everything that they bought, and they didn't buy much. They never really bought much, to be honest. They lived a relatively simple life. They didn't have a big house, you know, and they saved all their money, basically. And in their later years, they treated themselves to the odd holiday here and there, but they certainly didn't like blow through it all in any way. And they were certainly always living in a means of like, well within their means, never stretching beyond it, or really treating themselves at all, to be honest, and splashing out or anything like this. Frugal, it's a good way to describe it, and consistent. And I was thinking about them, the life they lived, you know, and the excesses that came from the generations after them, the Woodstock generations, you know, and then the complete and total just collapse of really the ability for people to live a life that they did live at one point. And it's kind of they probably didn't realize it at the time, because I'm sure they struggled in many ways, but they really were living through the good old days in many respects. And I feel like they may have left the world at the best time to not have to see where it's going. And I'm sure this is not a world that they would have wanted for their own grandchildren or their children. And it's disheartening to think about. It really is. By the way, this is the Truth or Therapy session, so I'm just venting here about my own thoughts on just how hard it can be for younger generations now. Myself included. I'm young. I'm not allowed to say my age, or everyone's going to start calling me everything under the sun, but I'm between the ages of 32 and 34. Okay, so I am the age Jesus was crucified. Let's put it that way. You know, I'm quite young, though in realistic terms, I suppose I'm technically middle-aged when you consider how long people live for. You know, I'm getting on. I'm getting grey hairs. I've got one right here on the camera. You can see it. You can all see there's one on the mustache. You know, they're appearing. You know, I'm getting on a little bit, but I'm still young enough to have a lot of skin in the game. and not quite have accrued as much wealth or assets or affluence as I will accrue in my life, no doubt. I'm still just starting out on the world stage. My 20s were... I'm not a kid anymore, but I'm certainly not considered old by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm in that period of life where I should have the property, I should have the career, and I should be working my way up, and the family and all that sort of stuff. And in many ways, I am blessed. When I look at where I am and the life I'm living, comparable to most people around me my age, I'm very lucky, and I'm in a good position, better than most, and I'm thankful, and I'm thankful to the Father in heaven for every single thing I have, because I know it can go like that as well. I know how impermanent and how unstable most things are. So while things are good, I'm going to appreciate that. And while things are bad, I'm going to understand that, well, it's troughs and waves. Things come, things go. Some things have to go away for new things to grow, and you've just got to go with the punches sometimes and roll with it. So I'm thankful for wherever I am in my life. But currently, as a 33-year-old, I'm doing quite well. I've got 2 sons. I've got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, which is a blessing, an absolute blessing. I've got a wife, beautiful wife, a supporting wife who lets me talk about crazy conspiracies on the internet to complete strangers. I'm truly blessed to be able to do that, but blessed than most people in this realm, to be honest, to be able to get away with doing this kind of thing and make a career out of it. And I have managed to make a career out of doing this, and not in like a sleazy sense, more in a sense of all I have to do is turn on my laptop and just talk for 2 hours twice a week, and people tune in and listen, and that generates income. And that's a blessing. Like, I know most people don't get to just do this. Like, I'm living a dream, quite literally in many ways. And I have no idea how this just worked out the way it did. And I put it down to someone is looking after me up there, and always has been my entire life. And I don't consider myself to have done much to deserve any of this, really. I am just very fortunate for what I do have, and I know that. But then at the same time, I can't help but sometimes feel like I'm not quite where I should be. If I was to compare where I am now at 33 to where my grandparents would have been, they already had kids. They already had a property, a home, which was practically already paid off. And I think they were more established in many ways, had more of a solid ground beneath their feet. And I feel like stability is the one thing I'm lacking. And many people my age and my generation and lower are lacking a solid foundation, financially, economically, socio-politically speaking. Okay, now look, obviously my foundation is Jesus Christ. He is the cornerstone of my life. Everything is built upon him, and I'm aware that everything else on this earth is just sand. It's sinking sand, and I get that. It's not a stable foundation, which is why I said wherever I end up, I'm okay, fundamentally. My soul, my spirits, my mindset is okay. And I try not to get pulled too much with the sways of these things. But like I said, I'm lucky considering how old I am. I know how lucky I am to be where I currently am in terms of like comfort, shall we say. It's not perfect all the time. It really isn't, believe me, we have stressful months and weeks and days just like the rest of them. But I know I'm doing better for my age than most people, because I look at most people and people younger than me, and I look at the situation out there in the world, and I look at the situation of, let's say, just something simple like the housing market and how desperate it actually is. And I realize it's kind of like there's no ladder for these people to climb. There's no hope of them getting to a position where our grandparents could have been. It doesn't exist like it did then anymore. It's been pulled up. And again, a lot of hate wants to go towards the boomers, the boomer generation. They had everything, they had excess and all the stuff, and they accumulated all the wealth, and then they voted in all the laws and all the things to hold on to that wealth, and they have, instead of paying it forward, they have done everything they can to demand that future generations maintain their comfort by voting in policies that make them pay more to support that particular generation in their old age and their retirement as well, which they didn't prepare for themselves through Social Security and all sorts of other things and pensions here in the UK. And it's kind of, they're like, I feel like they're just the scapegoat. They're the people who took advantage of a good situation. And why wouldn't you in that situation when you really think about it? Why wouldn't you do those things? How could you possibly understand the consequences? Who's really thinking like that, especially pre-internet when your world was pretty small and it was just your local villages and towns and the people around you that you saw on a daily basis, and you didn't have access to the knowledge of what was going on all over the earth at any given moment all the time, and their awareness was smaller. Let's be honest, So why wouldn't they be doing things that seemed to be having results in the real time, and they were getting property cheap, and they were affording the 2 holidays a year, and they could all afford to retire early and the rest of it. And because as far as they were, everything's going great and wonderful, they could borrow excessive money and get into massive amounts of debt and be assured that they could probably pay it off eventually. It's not really that much of a big deal, and there'll always be a job for them to fall back on. And if they're not working, there'll always be work available somewhere. Just put on your tie, print off your curriculum vitae, go out there and hand them out. And next thing you know, you got 5 calls offering you a job to come into next Monday, And it did work like that. That's the thing. So why it's not their fault, fundamentally. It really isn't their fault. Again, I understand that this is the devaluation of the currencies, the consolidation of wealth and assets has been a long-term goal for a very long time, because they want to create a digital currency in a world where people don't own property. Okay, and to get there, you've got to create a situation which we have today. And I think it is a bit of a chain reaction situation. I think they needed to inflate the property of value so people can buy them cheap. And then eventually it would ferment a situation we have today. And greed has got involved. It has got a little bit. There are some evil people in the world and always have been. And it seems like a good portion of that generation are sociopathic in a sense and very power hungry and myopic in their worldview still, and haven't realized the world has changed. So what you're finding now is a lot of people in that generation, again, where you want to put the blame for this one, but it's probably best to put it on themselves, because you are your own responsibility at the end of the day. And a lot of them didn't actually prepare for retirement, and they had all their money tied up in assets, okay, like property. Now it's coming to the retirement period, and they're all coming into the brackets of 65 to 80 now, and moving along that age range. Well, they were hoping they could sell their house to pay off the rest of the stuff, and live out the rest of their years. But the problem is they jacked up all their property prices way beyond what's realistic. And that was done, especially during a COVID era boom as well. Something happened there in the COVID era where suddenly everyone was buying and selling their house at exuberant prices and getting into bidding wars because everyone wanted to move out of their small property into a bigger property because they were all cramped together and not at work anymore. So they didn't know how to deal with that. So it's like, we're going to buy a bigger house. And that caused a seller's market, which meant the prices went up, and the prices stayed up. So now properties that should be, let's say, £200,000 in the UK, which, realistically then, pre-2020 period, pre-2019, £200,000 could get you a decent 4-bed property in the north of England, possibly detached with a garage separate and a nice garden and a driveway. You can get a decent house for 200 grand 7 years ago. Now you'd have to pay about £450,000 for the same thing. A basic family home that you could live comfortably in for a long time. Because these people who sold all those houses at those prices paid exuberant prices, didn't they, for those properties? They paid stupid prices. Why? Because interest rates were very low. They were less than 1%. Okay? So people got out mortgages to buy houses worth £200,000 for £270,000 or £300,000 because interest rates are low. It doesn't matter anyway, right? What could go wrong? So they paid way over what a house was worth because interest rates were so low, confident that they could continue to pay it off for the rest of their life type of thing. And as a result, well, those prices never came back down. And now people want to sell their houses, who bought their houses in that time, because interest rates have now skyrocketed, especially with the Iran war. And those 5-year fixed terms have just ended. So now they're finding themselves, rather than paying £800 a month, which they could comfortably afford, suddenly they have to pay £1,500 a month. And they can't afford it, so they have to sell. But they can't sell cheaper than what they bought their property for, because they need to make the money back to pay off the mortgage that they borrowed. But who the hell can buy these houses at these prices, so no one's buying them? So everyone's now royally fucked, basically. Because of greed. Because things got a bit ridiculous. So now what you're finding is the boomer generations, these older generations, are stuck in this horrible position where they have these assets, these properties, which are now worth way more than what they're actually worth on paper, but if you want to sell it, because all the properties that sold in their area are at a certain price, they've gone really high. So a lot of people in this generation aren't willing to drop their prices below what they've been told it's worth by greedy retailers as well, and sellers of the houses, and these estate agents. And they fell in love with those numbers that came around in 2020. I mean, you're telling me my property's now worth £400,000 and I bought it 30 years ago for a can of Coke and 2 hair clips? It's like, how has this happened? I want that money. I want that money. I need money for my retirement. So all these people are trying to sell these houses for their retirement because they didn't save enough and they can't sell them. And we, young people like myself, who need a 4-bed house with some space for my children to have a room each, me to have an office, a bedroom, a decent enough sized kitchen that's separate from a living room so we can have some peace from another. Just a decent, relatively sized family home. Maybe, I'm not asking for much. Maybe just like 1,200 square foot would be wonderful. It'd be better than the 700 square foot we've got currently, you know what I mean? It's kind of just something basic. But I can't afford £300,000 for that basic thing. The bank won't even lend me that much money. Why would they? I'm self-employed, first of all. That makes things next to impossible. So everyone's kind of trapped where they are. The younger generations can't afford to buy the houses at the prices that they're currently at, and the older generations can't afford to sell their houses any cheaper than what the prices are currently at because of inflation and because of the messed up property market now, which demands these higher prices. And with the rise of interest rates, it's just become even more impossible for anybody to sell and anybody to buy. So where the hell are we supposed to live? What are we supposed to do? Now, this is the case of an unmovable force hitting an unstoppable force. Something's got to give at some point, and it isn't going to be pretty when it does happen. It's not. And everyone wants to blame all the other generations. It's like, well, the millennials' fault for not working hard enough and asking for lower prices on our houses. How dare they? How selfish of them. Don't they think about me and my my retirement? Why don't they just work harder? This lazy generation doesn't want to work anymore. Therefore, they haven't got enough money to buy houses, so I can't sell my house. And then the younger generations are like these evil old people hoarding all the wealth and aren't willing to let it go and give anything back to the younger generations. And everyone just hates each other. Gen Z is just completely checked out. Like, they're at an age where they're not quite buying property yet. Maybe some extreme outlier cases are where they've somehow made $1 million at the age of 18 for some stupid sensational thing and they're buying mansions. Yeah, maybe that happens, maybe, whatever. But they're the exception, they're not the rule. Most Gen Z are living with their parents and don't expect to ever move out. People in my generation, like young millennials, not quite Gen Z, well, we moved out and we got our properties and we're renting and it's draining everything that we have. We're kind of stuck renting forever. Possibly many of us are probably eventually going to go homeless or move back in with our parents, which is not ideal under any circumstance, And Gen X, I think some of them are very sympathetic towards younger generations. They understand the problems and they'll probably start taking control of most things very soon. And I think when they start taking control, they're a very much generation of staying silent through all the shit and just getting on with it. And I think many of them may have won or may have lost. I think it's like a 50-50 split. Some of them may have just got on the ladder just in time. Others may have never got a chance or just fell through the cracks and just keep their heads down and get on with it, But I feel like the Gen Z may be a bit of a fix-it generation. They've always just had to do stuff on their own because their parents were neglectful narcissists primarily. I'm generalizing here. But they were the latchkey generation is what they're known as, isn't it? And they were just left to their own devices to fend for themselves. So I feel like when that generation starts gaining more of the reins of power, of political sway and the movement of civilization, we might see things turning for the better. And when millennials are getting control, I think things are going to be a lot different. I really do. because we're a generation who saw the consequences of excess and kind of were always missing out or just about to make it and got everything taken away from us from one event after another, while also growing with the advent of technology, and seeing that take over as well. We saw the switch from analog to digital at an age where we were conscious to see both just about, but young enough that we would grow with the technology and know how to use it as well and not kind of lose touch. But we still have this weird in-between world where our childhood is not congruent with our adulthood. And I think that probably has some weird psychological impact. Like I grew up as a child in an analog world, but I live as an adult in a digital world. And I don't know, I'm young enough to just know that there's a huge difference here. And it's scary. It's worrying. And I know a lot of people listening to me today are likely around my age. I know there's a lot of people in the older generations listening to me today as too. And look, I'm not throwing any disparagement at any generation here. Don't think I'm having to go at the boomers or trying to go do a woe is me for the millennial situation. I'm just trying to convey really where we're at and what many people my age are thinking and feeling. And this is common, and look, I'm a truth or conspiracy theorist type. I understand there's things at play behind the scenes here that most people aren't thinking about. There's agendas at play and there's forces at work we don't recognize unless you're conscious of them that have fomented this situation that we find ourselves in. So I don't blame any individual group. I blame the bastards who did this to us, which are basically the Zionist, globalist, like banking cartel systems that have completely and totally destroyed the Western world and any hope for its native peoples to have any say or sway or future within our own lands. Basically, that's what's happened here, and it's all by design, completely by design. Our systems and our infrastructures have been completely overwhelmed and inundated beyond capacity to short circuit them and blow them up and to make it unfeasible to exist. That's basically what they've done. And things have to get that bad for their agenda because they want us to demand change, for things to get better, for something to be different. And this is just one front we're under attack here. Money, housing, food. I mean, you've seen the price of food now, right? I'm sure you've all noticed. Have you been going to the supermarket and suddenly you're realizing it's costing me like 50 quid for a packet of bacon, some milk, some bread, and maybe a few bananas? Like, what the hell happened here? I'm not even getting the branded stuff. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, me alone, family of four. 2 adults, 2 kids. We used to be able to do a shop every 2 weeks or every week for about 60 pounds, give or take. It used to be less than that when we just had one kid, £60 every week. Not bad, and that was only like 5 years ago. Now every shop is costing at least £130 to £150 every week. And we haven't changed what we buy. We're creatures of habit, We get the same stuff. We pre-plan our meals. We get ingredients. We cook fresh. We don't buy ready meals and things like this. And we have our set structures and what we get. And those costs are not reflective of me changing my tastes or going a little bit expensive here and there. I don't buy alcohol, which bumps up the cost of most people shopping astronomically. I don't drink. We don't buy anything like that. We're not doing anything silly. We're not doing anything frivolous. We have separate pots for clothes and stuff like this. So I'm not including them on top of our bill and getting confused, or anything like this. We have specific savings for those specific things. We have a grocery pot, which is just for the food specifically. And we can see, because we analyze it and we can see it, and it tells us you are spending more this week than you did last week. And it's always more. It's always more on a weekly basis, and it shouldn't be like this. Food should not be 3 times the cost it was simply 2 to 3 years ago. That's a sign of a sick, dying economy that's about to crash under itself. And again, I'm lucky, very lucky, that I just about earn enough money to just currently stay relatively comfortable on that. But it's getting harder. things are getting weirder. And I dread to think what people in lower socioeconomical situations have to deal with, and the stress and the fear that they must be living under on a day-to-day, weekly basis, not knowing if they can even feed their own children with the way what are they supposed to do? Just starve? Is that what it is? In a supposed first world country where we're supposed to have the free medical care and the greatest welfare system to ever exist, yet our poorest among us just have to starve because they can't afford food anymore. Like, what? And I'm not. This is not even going out and buying branded products, which again everybody could do with cutting out because they cost like 3 times the cost of an unbranded product anyway. Basic stuff, you know. But I'm sure everyone's already doing that. And still, you see it on TikTok, you see it on Instagram, you see it on Facebook, all the shorts coming out of people saying, "What the hell's happening, man? Why is this happening?" Never, let alone fuel. Obviously, fuel has always been going up, and it does anyway, slowly creeping up, half a penny here, half a penny there, you know. But then suddenly something happens on the world stage. Russia goes to war with Ukraine. Oh, we got to add £1 per litre onto that now, instantaneously. There's a war in Ukraine, don't you know? It's kind of like, yeah, you didn't pre-plan this, you slimy, sneaky snake. Yeah, like, oh, you were just ready to press that button. Any excuse, right? Any excuse. And then suddenly, obviously, the war in Iran happens again now. Got to put that price back up. It didn't quite go up as high as it did last time with Ukraine, but it spiked again. And that just sets in that fear in people. Because remember what it was like then and just how bad it can get. You know, and I feel it now. I feel it all around me. Even just walking around my old village to go see the graves of my grandparents, you know. It's falling apart. When I was growing up, it was beautiful. Everyone cared. The hedges were cut. The plants were planted, you know. The streets were swept in front of people's houses. And people did this themselves. There was a community. People, they loved each other and they loved where they lived. They took pride in it and they looked after it. And it looked beautiful. It looked Victorian and old, as most things do in the UK now, you know. Have these winding roads. It's in the Shires. It's beautiful. And when the sun shines, you remember why I love this country. In winter, you have those moments like, what the hell am I doing here? I need to go move to Florida or something, you know. But when the sun finally shines and you see it, it's like, this is the green and pleasant land, you know. You see it, you feel it, and the community comes alive. But I was walking around my old village and the walls are crumbling. The roads are cracked. The pavement is falling apart. You know, lampposts are rusting. Like, trees are being removed and replaced. You don't see many people. They're all inside now. The front of people's houses, their gardens and stuff aren't cut. Something's wrong. Like, because nobody can afford to maintain the basics. And I think the generations who did care about that kind of thing, like my grandparents, are gone. And what's left are the desperate. That's what it seems like, are the ones who can't afford to maintain their properties and to fix that leak, that broken tile, erect that wall that came down or crumbled, or plant that garden bed, or prune that hedge anymore, or sweep the path in any way, or even just jet wash it and make it like it's not full of green mold or whatever it is. You know, just basic stuff that people had the time to do, and because instead, no, well, how can you blame them for wanting to upkeep and maintain the basic things when they can't even afford food? It's all trickled down, and it makes the world uglier the more basic necessities are held back from people. If you don't have the basics down, you can't expect the aesthetics to come with it. And I get that. But it's kind of after, like, you know, and for me, it's kind of because I drive everywhere now, and I don't live in this place anymore with my grandma buried, you know. So going back there and I'm walking around through it and around it for like 2 hours, 3 hours, I was seeing everything I used to see as a kid again, but as an adult, and it's changed. All the shops are shut and boarded up. there's a Turkish barber and a vape shop on every, like 3 on every high street for some reason. I don't know why. They're clearly all money laundering fronts. You don't need that many barbers. You should just be one barber, you know what I mean? The pubs are shut and closed. And it's kind of it's in a way dead. The community's gone. Nobody talks to each other. All the doors are shut. I don't know. It's sad. It's just one of those things that it's just and I knew this was, I already knew this was going to be the situation. I'm not shocked. Like, of course it's like this. It's just sad to see it in my own village. And I'm sure you probably noticed it yourself in your own. I don't know, man. It's not good. Anyway, I'm going to stop there for a second and come back to the chat, see what people are saying, and reiterate what's going on today with the special prize draw for a signed copy, hardcover, of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. I've got one left of my batch here, which I haven't sold, so I'm going to give it away instead, but there are rules for entry here. It is a competition. It's just a bit of fundraiser for me and a bit of fun for you guys as well, and a way to show some extra support if you want, and also a chance at winning a signed copy of my own book, The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. So to enter, the minimum threshold is a super chat of $5. And that's it. One entry, one donation. You can't donate $20 and expect your name going in 4 times or something. It's just whatever you donate above 5, it's still one entry. But if you want to pay for somebody else specifically in the chat, make that clear and I will divvy up your donation for that specific purpose. But you have to tell me, okay? You have to tell me. So there we go. And now looking at the fan funding here, let's see what it says. We've already got a few people in. We've got, let me just expand this so I can see the names a bit more. We've got Jerry. I can't see the full names. We've got a few people. That's great. Just want to thank you for doing that. God bless you and your family. Blessings on you, your family, and this ministry. I'm so glad I found you. Jesus loves you, and so do I. Thank you. Hello, Paul. Please enter me in the drawing. I love you. So we've got 3 entries so far, guys. Good to see that that's 3 people. They all have a good chance right now, a 1 in 3 chance of winning it. Your name goes into a random name generator. It's a spinning wheel, and whoever it lands on gets the free copy, and I'll send it out to you in the post. Just email me after the show, we can get it sorted. But if you want to enter the competition, we have 3 people in already. Get your name in, $5 minimum, super chat, and you're in. That's it, and we'll announce it at the end of the show around the 2-hour mark. You'll have to just give me about 5 to 10 minutes to enter all the names into the draw and get it up while some music plays in the background or something. So there we go, guys. That's what's currently happening as a side thing to this whole show. I'm going to read some chats right now before I continue, and there's plenty more I could rant about, but that's just one thing I've noticed, the generational division right now. I do feel like this is a part of the plan. I try my best to deny the flesh and get in on that. It's easy to just point your finger and blame people. It really is. Some people really don't help themselves. It's like they want to be blamed sometimes. I get it. You know? But as a truther and someone in this community, and as a Christian, as somebody who understands that who is more driven to take responsibility for the situation rather than put the blame on other people, I do understand, even though a lot of it comes down to me getting on with it, finding a way around it, and persevering either way, whatever's going on, and trying my best to help people throughout it too. I do understand there are evil people and the spiritual wickedness in high places in this world who are orchestrating these circumstances to create this war, to create this division. And if you, as a truther, have found yourself falling into that mindset of wanting to blame the older generations for the plight of the younger generations, just remember what we're actually up against here. Just remember the agendas we're actually facing, the long-term plans that have been going on for decades. Generation after generation, far predating our grandparents and our parents, you know. This is the end goal. This situation that the ferment that we're living in was the goal. This is the chaos they're going to make order out of for the long-term agenda. So be forgiving of one another, love one another, and go out there and make sure that you're not letting this hatred consume your life to the point where you're abdicating your responsibility to take control of your own life, to blame others who really were just doing the best they thought they could at their own time for themselves and their families when they were living through it, not really aware of the wider consequences that were coming down for future generations. Hindsight is always 2020. Remember that. It's always 2020. So yeah, we'll leave that there. I'm going to take a quick break, guys. I'll play a song for you. Don't forget to get your $5 in. It looks like Connor's got one for Avanti Design and another one for the final units. That's 2 more people in the draw. Thanks, Connor, for that. It's very generous of you. I really appreciate it. So 5 people are already in it with a chance to win a signed copy of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. You've got to be in it to win it. So get a $5 super chat in, and you can be rest assured that you have it just as much of a chance as anybody else. So I'll leave that there for now. I'm just going to have a quick break. I'll play a song from my album Stupid Prizes. I'm just gonna have a drink of water, catch up on the chat, and we'll come back. And I'd like to talk about the moon thing again, and Artemis 2. I want to talk about that. Okay, so that's what's coming. And here's, I don't know, let's listen to Ruins. This one's called Ruins from my album Stupid Prizes, which you can find on Spotify.
Your pride above all the memories isn't really that easy to see. It doesn't seem fair to me, 'cause when I'm in Preston I might be selling pensions, and while I'm in Lincoln I'm thinking of ascension. But it's so easy to believe all the double speak and that disinformation, that I'm not just gonna sit around waiting for the times to change. 'Cause I know that things will only stay the same. So I say I'm not gonna play, but you're back into it. Let's end this new age. I've been good and in ruins. Who's gonna give you love when you place your pride above all the memories? Is it really that easy to see lonely minds asking me to spare diamonds in the hands of men who on the wrong islands? And oh no, it doesn't seem fair to me, to me.
And I am back. There we go. So that's Ruins from my album Stupid Prizes. Just a quick EP, nothing fancy. It's all recorded over the years on one microphone or another. Some better quality than others, just a bit of a taste of the type of music I like to make. I'm actually working on a new song right now, which should be out in maybe the next month, by the end of the month, hopefully. Maybe 3 to 4 weeks, give or take. So that's coming soon as well. So there'll be more music coming on Spotify. If you're interested, if you're interested in that kind of thing, go and check it out. Morgan says, I will trust Christ with my funds. Enter me in, brother. He's donated $5 Canadian. Unfortunately, your Canadian Monopoly money is no good here. It's only worth like $1. But I'll let you off. I'm joking. I'll let you off. You can you can be in for that Canadian $5. I'll let you in on the prize draw. That's fine. Christ, when he lived, did not reveal any heliocentrism, and some of the prophets had a witness of heaven. Heliocentrism is Luciferian foolishness, says Troll Corset. I guess that might be a good way to lead into the kind of thing I want to talk about next. But I do want to quickly just reference that I did see Connor say, I can see the veins about to bulge. She's going off now. And what did NK Ryan say? He's already dropped an F-bomb without apology. It's pretty unhinged. Yeah, I don't swear often, but when I do swear, I try and make sure it's for a good reason. For real British emphasis of the point, not just willy-nilly because I want to just, because I can't help myself. I try and use my swear words to initiate the correct impact when necessary. I like my language. I like the English language. I like to use words. Someone's described me as being very verbose before, as though they were trying to put me down, and I just felt like saying thanks for the compliment. Yes, I pride myself on having the ability to be verbose, because you have to know a lot of words, and I think swear words, when used correctly, have their place sometimes. Maybe that's not very Christ-like of me to say. I don't know. I'm not Jesus. I'm Paul. I'm not perfect, and I get angry, and sometimes I do swear. I try to limit it though. I do try to limit it. Okay, like I know it's not good. I'm not saying it's good. This is one of those things, I'm not perfect. Maybe it's one of my vices I need to work on. We got Caffeinated something or other, because it doesn't show me the full name, has donated, thank you. And Brooke Bootle has also donated 5 there to get into the draw. Thanks for that, guys. That's quite a few people in the draw now. Let me just quickly check what we've got here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in for a chance to win a signed copy of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. If you've just joined and you would also like to be in for a chance, $5 minimum super chat and you're in, and we'll do a roll at the end and we'll get it going. Okay, so get it in now if you're interested. Let's just do this. Let's roll with it. But while you're thinking of doing that or not doing that, it's your choice. You don't have to, guys. It's just a bit of fun. I do want to kind of roll on something I did talk about. I think maybe last Sunday. I'm not totally sure. Because it's maybe if memory hold it already. I don't really know. But they did the whole let's pretend that the moon's real thing again. Well, let's pretend the moon's a giant rock floating in space thing again. And they basically spent trillions of dollars. I don't know how much it is, billions, millions, trillions. It's an astronomical number, no pun intended, but they spent an inordinate amount of resources and money blasting a rocket, it supposedly through the Van Allen belt towards the moon, just to see if it's all right, and then come back down. Okay, that's basically what they admitted they did. We went around the moon just to see if it's okay, and then to pop back down quickly, And the whole charade was perhaps the worst thing I've ever seen in my lifetime when it comes to space crap. Okay. It was ridiculous. Not a consonant. Thank you for your donation there. You're in the draw. But yeah, it was bad, wasn't it? And they did the usual, let's send a giant rocket up into space with loads of fire, and we'll do it from many angles, and we'll show the thrusters fire this heavy object into the sky and watch it curve over, and then we'll cut the camera to a fake CGI image as a example of what it's currently doing, not ignoring the fact that basically it just curved off and crashed in the ocean somewhere. That's how it always really goes every single time, And suddenly the CGI takes over, and then communication comes through, and the actors start unclipping themselves, and they're floating around, giving that, "Ooh, my hair's all wavy, guys. We must be in space." Nonsense. Sometimes the green screen fails, though, which it did a few times. Everyone with the autistic vision analysing every single frame and inch of this entire thing. Obviously, the internet discovered all the examples where the green screen failed miserably throughout the whole thing. And obviously, every now and then you could see the wires holding them up, and these people are actors. Fundamentally, it's very obvious. The whole thing's fake from start to finish. And they needed this. They needed to reinstate the lie that we can go to the moon and space is real and blah, 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 blah. Obviously, it's been a while, hasn't it? Since the 60s, it's been a long time. So we have to do something, guys. We've got to justify our existence in some way, shape, or form. So they put on this whole show. And then once they return, they come plummeting back by the way, after taking the worst pictures known to man of the backside of the moon and of the Earth, which people with telescopes can get better photos of, here on Earth, the worst quality images ever, and the worst angles from within the station of what's outside the window. They come back crashing down at what, in a vessel that gets up to what, like 5,000 degrees Celsius or something stupid, and then it hits the ocean and not a drop of steam. Nothing. And we're finally here, and never mind, not like they just got dropped out of a cargo plane with a parachute attached to them or something. Like, there's ways they can fake this, because all you see are CGI renditions of what they're supposedly currently doing. None of it's true. It's all fake. We know it's fake. I'm preaching to the choir here. They're making it up. They lied. They made it up. It's not real. Never happened. But there's a huge, huge group of people who prostrate themselves at the altar of NASA, don't they? And they're just like, oh, give me more space, Daddy. Give it all to me. I want more. I want more fantasy. Give it to me, please. I need the fiction. Another blue marble. Just another blue marble. Just one more. They're addicted to it. They need that thing because they have nothing. They have nothing else, do they? Because they've been indoctrinated their entire life to consider themselves not even a mold, like a cancer on the just a useless, resource-draining cancer on a water-covered slime rock hurtling through space chaotically at millions and thousands of miles an hour while spinning around relentlessly over a sun, a very insignificant small sun compared to the trillions that are observable from us alone in an infinite vast space that's incomprehensible beyond all comprehension from a human perspective, but how small, tiny, and insignificant our existence truly is in the grand scheme of the universe itself. And nothing has meaning. It's all pointless. It's nihilistic. You're born and then you die and nobody remembers you. Blah, 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 blah. The usual nihilistic space stuff that we teach to kids, by the way. The bullshit. And God gets removed out of the equation. People get depressed. And they need the fiction. They don't know there's anything else. They need that hope that man will one day travel the stars. We will leave our limiting, ever-depleting, original home, our first spaceship Earth. We'll leave this thing and we'll go out there and we'll find new lands to colonize and maybe, just maybe, give ourselves some meaning and purpose and no longer just be tied down to a meaningless cycle of death and birth on this dwindling, pointless place that means nothing to nobody, and we'll go out there and spread ourselves far and wide and have an abundance and create utopias, and we'll take our own evolution into our own hands while we're at it, and we'll transcend the death cycle, and we'll live forever as transhumanist AI adapted biomechanical organisms of some kind who can survive the harsh climates of planets and space out there. we will become as gods, and we will have dominion over the universe and all creation ourselves. And it all starts here with NASA sending rockets to the moon, and they bought into that narrative. And maybe we'll meet aliens along the way. You never know. And it'll be Star Trek, and we'll go out there and we'll join the galactic, or even start the Galactic Federation. We'll go out there and colonize these primitive worlds with primitive beings, and we'll bring them into our world, and we'll coalesce into this ultimate imperial regime out there in space somewhere. I don't know. I'm making it up now. I'm just riffing. But the point is, they have this idea, this dream, don't they? That stories like people flying around the moon give them this narrative, the lie, the haze I mentioned earlier, the complete bullshit. And that's all they've got from their perspective to cling on to, because they've been told everything else is meaningless and pointless, and there's no God and there's no purpose to anything. It's all nihilism and desperate and pointless. And if that's the case, then what have you got other than you might as well just kill yourself? Okay, so they give the people things like a spaceship going to the moon to give them just a little bit of something to keep them going for a bit longer and to maintain the lie that there is space, that it is this thing we can go and explore. Because the truth is, it's an enclosed system created by God, and we're actually a lot bigger than we think we are, and far more important than we think we are. And there is a creator, and he actually loves us. We're made in his image, don't you know? That changes things. That's too empowering. It's hard to instill nihilism into people, and apathy, and consumerist, let's just gorge ourselves to death kind of ideologies. When they have hope that they are a lovingly created being from a God that knows them intimately. We can't have that. That's how we're supposed to control people with that kind of empowerment. No. You're a cancer on a slime rock in a vast, insignificant universe. Now get back to work and pay those taxes. Yeah. That's more convenient, isn't it? Far more convenient for those in control. You hear people like Elon Musk talking about, oh, we're going to go colonize Mars. It's like, yeah, okay. I can't wait to see the show you're going to put on for that one. Oh, what a sacrifice those first pioneers are making for us. Off they go into the vast unknown towards Mars to set up the foundations for the next team, knowing that they will not survive. They are going to die on this mission just to lay the basic foundation for what's to come next, you know. And that's how it'll be sold. I bet that's how it's going to be sold. Okay, I guarantee that's how it's going to be sold. Some team will be put together, some multicultural, diverse team. Okay, will go out and they'll know it's a suicide mission. They're going to have to go into deep stasis, and they're going to get resurrected and woken up after traveling for, I don't know, 50 years or so, 30 years, 20 years, whatever they say it takes. They're going to make some number up, okay, whatever. And once they're resurrected and they're there, they know they're not coming back. It's a one-way trip. And what they've got to do while they're there is they've got to establish the biodome, the way to terraform this region to sustain life. But in the time it's going to take them to do that, they'll probably die before the next team turns up and takes over. Something like this, okay? And that's what's going to happen. And then we'll get all those brave people going out there, and everything we will be doing from then on is going to be for them. Let's not forget who's already out there on Mars currently doing this great sacrifice for us. What can we sacrifice for them? Maybe those Christians over there who keep trying to hold us back. Can you see how this can start to go eventually, this delusion pushed far enough? I think it can. I think it can get that bad. And I don't think generations are getting smarter. I think this is an idiocracy situation, unfortunately. I think education is getting weaker. It's getting worse. I think knowledge is getting more controlled. I think it's getting weird. I think the future generations need to get their heads screwed on and to read some books before it's too late, to try and prolong this for as much as possible. But yeah, this delusion, once you get down to the bottom of it, this lie, is extremely dangerous in the long run. It's not just some trivial thing that's a bit of fun for the kids and gives some people some hope. It has an agenda, it has an end goal. It sustains not only the biggest deception known to all of humanity, that God is real and he's very close, and we are important and far larger than we were otherwise told that we were, and that Jesus is real, and that we will be judged for our actions here if we do not accept his free gift of salvation to be able to make it through that judgment in the end. If we don't know any of that, because we still think, well, we're just going to transcend our bodies and take control of our evolutionary process and turn into gods ourselves and leave this rock and make our own heaven somewhere else. You know, that's the biggest pile of shit I've ever heard compared to the truth of Jesus Christ and our creator God, who I mean, the evidence that he exists is all around us, and that's hard to understand what I just said there. You know, it's self-evident in all the things that have been made. I think it's in Romans 13. I'm probably forgetting the exact verse here, but it's made clear that when you really fully understand the scale of God, the truth starts to come, and you start to find the science to back up its existence. Okay, and you start to realize, for example, the basic law of entropy. I'm not sure which law of thermodynamics that is exactly, but what we do know, as is scientifically measurable, is that everything is in a constant state of decay. It isn't getting better. Evolution, proven wrong instantly. Off the table. Because what it does prove is that everything must have been created at once, when you really think about it. And since that state of perfection, when God spoke the earth into existence, it's been progressively decaying since then. Because things don't improve over time. Things that are in order are always falling into a state of disorder. That's entropy. Always. It never stops. And chaos doesn't miraculously turn into order given enough time and enough monkeys with a typewriter type of argument, you know. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Things must have been perfect in the beginning, got corrupt over time, which is what the Bible tells you is the truth. And there's millions of little things like that. When you just start to observe creation, the creator becomes self-evident. Okay, never mind the fact that I brute forced the shit out of that through DMT and other things, which made me see some shit which I just cannot let go of now. It's like, oh great, I've seen there's another dimension. What am I supposed to do with that? Just ignore it? Pretend I didn't see these things and the entities on the other side? Oh no, that's just my imagination running wild. Oh, and it's consistent with everybody else who does it and sees the exact same thing? Oh, but I guess that's just a coincidence. No, you can't. You can't let go of that. But what it does prove is that there's a creator. When you intrinsically see that everything, mathematically speaking, is perfect. Everything. It's created. Math just doesn't intrinsically exist for its own purpose of existing. It's a code. It's a formula. And formulas are formed by consciousness. Okay? And you can see the formula in everything. The geometry in all things. What we call a design. Okay? And entropy doesn't create designs like this. It doesn't. Chaos doesn't create order. Now, those who are in these secret societies want to cause chaos so they can rebuild and reshape out of the ashes of the chaos their order, but they themselves are putting themselves as gods above man and creating the reality that we live in. They are creating an order from the chaos, but chaos itself doesn't just turn into order. There has to be a consciousness behind it, and that's God. That's our creator. Okay? And the whole story of creation is us falling away from him and finding our way back. That's fundamentally the Christian story. The story of redemption. It's the wayward son coming back to the father after squandering his inheritance and rolling around with the pigs, you know. It's the same thing. It's the same story, and that redemptive arc is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And yeah, no, it appeals to the heart and the mind of all man, the eternal refrain of man and the suffering of man, and our desire to make our own way in the world without the help of God, to only realize that we can't do it without him and all the rest of it. Those are nice narratives and stories, but fundamentally, I mean, you don't need that to know that God exists. The feelings, you can look at the facts, look at the creation around you, and you'll see it's self-evident there is a creator. And I think most people haven't stopped to look. They have never stopped to actually look at nature, look at the creation itself. Just watch the clouds for 10 minutes. Stop for a second. Now, they may have read lots of books about nature, which have told them many things, sure, and probably angle more towards the evolutionary through slow processes and adaptation narrative and blah, 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 blah. I'm sure. So they might think they have a good grasp on what they're looking at. But the problem is what we think we know about nature and reality, we layer onto the reality around us when we look at things and we make assumptions. But when you actually lose all of that and just watch without any assumptions, as a child would look at things, the whole world opens up into a psychedelic, trippy mess that shows you, oh my God, this was created, you know, it's something else. But who has the time in this world? This whole world's designed to keep you distracted all the time, so you never stop to smell the flowers. You never stop to think about the things around you. You never stop to think about your place in it and where we stand and what we are. It's rigged against you from the start. What was I even talking about? Artemis 2. That's it. All these things serve is to propagate the lie, the materialist lie, that this is all there is. And any hope of escaping this, in any way, shape, or form, can only come from leaving the planet physically, or not dying and living forever and creating our own utopic heaven somewhere in space or here on Earth. But to do that, we have to conquer the death cycle. Because the people who run the show, they know where they're going when they die. They know what side they chose. Maybe they're deluding themselves to think that they're actually the good guys and they will create some sort of utopic heaven for them to live out forever in eternity in, and can avoid that judgment coming at the end of time. Maybe. Maybe their hubris will never let them accept the free gift of salvation that's available to all men. Maybe. Maybe they think they are going to live forever. And they're just lost in it. They're given over to their grand delusions. I don't know exactly. But I do know there's a good contingent of those controllers out there who know full well what side they chose. And they're making us go down with them. Because they have nothing but contempt for us, just like their father, who's the father of all lies. Because he knows where he's going to. It's already foretold. He was told, yeah, you ain't making it out of this. And what does a cornered animal do? Well, they kick and scream and thrash, and they try and pull as many people down with them, especially those who are drowning. You know, it's the same thing. You don't get close to somebody who's drowning, who's kicking and thrashing and screaming. That's not, no. They'll just drag you down with them. And a lot of these people have chosen to get close to that kicking and dying and screaming, drowning monster who's making his way down to the lake of fire, you know. And many people said, oh, I can change him or something. I don't know what drove people to go towards him. I have no idea. Maybe some people just hate their existence so much and hate God that much that they just decided, maybe because they believed the lies that this place is cruel and miserable and horrible and they deserve more or something like this. I don't know what exactly. They don't want to admit that their own sin caused this situation. They want to put the blame all on God or something like this, but they have, for some way, through their own delusion, chosen to go down with the devil, to burn with him. And it's not all of them. I think some of them are just delusional and think they're the good guys. I think some of them might not even believe in the devil or know anything like that exists, but are just useful idiots. But there's some at the top, and they know. They know the choice they've made. They know. But most people living in this world don't know that's the choice they've made. They don't. They're victims. They are literally just going along with what they were taught in school. And I explained in my video, the haze, this everything in this world, all the institutions, your teachers, your people in positions of authority, the news, your parents even, everyone you know as a child from growing up is telling you the same things over and over again, parroting what they heard from their authority figures and their teachers, and it's all encompassing. And then you are born into a world where you mean nothing, everything is meaningless and pointless and finite and is running out and will end, and your life is pain and death and misery. There is no God, you're all alone and nobody loves you. Okay, that's the world people are born into and go navigate life through and try and get through life believing and thinking. And that's the haze they live within, and they can't see anything outside of it. People like me sound absolutely insane to them. We do. We sound crazy because everyone they know believes in X. Who's this person coming along talking about Y? That doesn't make any sense. Like, that's delusional. Like, my teacher said this, my doctors say this, the people on the news say this, my leaders say this, my boss says it, my parents told me this. And yeah, because everybody's on it, under it, everyone's in it. It wouldn't be a very good delusion otherwise, would it? I think more people are seeing through it. I do. I think more people in this day and age. The internet definitely helps a lot. I think a lot more people are realizing just how far gone the delusion is. I think a lot of people are realizing just how deep the lie goes. And we're networking, we're talking, we're communicating, we're spreading as much as we can, we're talking to each other, we're supporting each other, we're building communities, we're separating ourselves, we're going off grid, we're growing our own food, we're going all herbal and natural, we're taking our kids out of the schools, we're doing what we can when we can. And, you know, slowly but surely that grows faster and faster and gets exponential. And I think that is happening. I think we're living in a time. It's not all hopeless, but you have to remember that the majority of people are still there. Just look at any post from NASA and look at the comment sections underneath it, and these people are idolizing them like gods. You know, these are the oracles of our world. These are the people that you go to find out where our future lies. Where will we be in 50 years' time, NASA? Oh, tell us, please. What have you got in the pipelines? What's our next mission? Where are we going next? You know, where will humanity be in this time? And it's kind of, well, they have their plans and God laughs. And most of what they have to tell you is a lie that doesn't exist in any real world. It's a fiction. It's all fiction. And these people are actors. These people on these screens, these people doing these missions, they are actors. You have to know this. This is very important. Okay? And I'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to take another break, have another drink. And I want to talk about how these people are not like us. And why they're not like us. And just how much this is the case. We'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to take another break. Go and check out the chat again. Have another drink of water. Here's another song for you guys. This one's called Living Water from my album Stupid Prizes. Go and find it on Spotify. So we're back in a minute.
My back is stabbed enough, oh could I take a break? This world is draining me, a glass of living water please. My eyes are aching now, oh could you take this beam? The abyss stood back and laughed, I remember all your past. I sing to heaven, please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. I sing for peace, now don't look down on me. Can't a man dream? That's a lovely building, oh is it built on feelings? When it falls, you can crawl, grab his hem and don't let go. I see on the telly, the gospel is the belly, forever feeling empty, the bread of life is always free. Well, I sing to heaven, oh please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. Well, I sing for peace, now don't look down on me. Can't a man dream? Carry this for me. Ease my knees. Unburden me, please, Lord, please. My back is stabbed enough, oh could I take a break? This world is draining me, a glass of living water please. My eyes are aching now, oh could you take this beam? The abyss stood back and laughed, I remember all your past. I sing to heaven, oh please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. Well, I sing for peace now, don't look down on me. I need to sleep.
Some beautiful pictures there, aren't they? Those videos of the cathedrals all around the world. I did enjoy that compilation when I put it together for my whole millennial reign musings back in the day. And it's become very handy to use as just a bit of a space filler between these breaks I do on these live shows. But yeah, that's another song, Living Water, on my album. Stupid Prizes. I have an image of it somewhere. Is it here? Is this the image? There it is. It looks like this. Yeah, it's about finding God, going from the New Age to Christianity, and kind of the journey along the way. And some ambient stuff in there, some personal stuff in there, some gibberish in there as well. Go and enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Leave a review if you can leave a review. I don't even know if you can, to be honest. But yeah, go check it out, guys, if you haven't already. And I'm just checking the super chats here. Christ held power over Genghis Khan, and his father is turning his enemy into something for him to stomp on. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. We have purchased physical and audio already. Please draw again if I win, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things may be added unto you. May this bless you and your family. Praise to God and Most High. Well, thank you very much for that. That's very, very generous, and I really appreciate it. I can't see the full name of the Miller something. It cuts it off on this chat, and it's really irritating that it does this. Maybe there's something I can do about this. Let me just see if I can. Let's get rid of fade transitions, and see if I can extend the chat in any way to see more. That's better. And now I can see the full names. Okay, yeah, so that is from the Miller Time 24. Thank you very much for that. It's very generous. Beck from Oz, you're in the draw too with your $5 there. Thank you very much. I don't know if you're aware of this, says Chris Cuberell, but when I told people from my class that multiple moon landings already happened, they sort of ridiculed it. Most people seem to be thinking we only landed there one time. I think I remember hearing there were other missions, and then they kind of trailed off after, because they lost the technology and the funding dried up or something like this was the story. But I was under the impression we went there a few times, and then it kind of just stopped. So goes the main narrative, you know. I don't think we went there at all, to be honest. I think it's all gibberish and a lie. I'm not even sure what we're looking at up there is even a physical body with a backside, to be honest, because we only ever see the one side at any given time, and there is no other way to look at that image. And it does seem to be plasma in nature, light in nature. And I think it likely is just that, a reflection of some kind in the lens above us of maybe the Earth below. I've heard that theory before, and I think it holds a lot of weight when you actually look into it. But the way it behaves, the way it moves, the way it changes its shape and light, the fact that the light that comes off it is not the reflected heat from the sun or light from the sun, because first of all, light doesn't reflect off a sphere the way that we see up there. If you actually do experiments, it's completely different. But if you look at the way that works and the light it gives off, and then you measure the temperature of that light, it's colder in the moonlight than it would be in the shadows at nighttime. Okay, so it works in reverse to how our sun works, where it's cooler in the shadows and hotter in the sunlight. If that was a reflection from the sun, then the light it reflects would also be just as hot as what we have from the sun. Not as hot, but it would be hotter than the shadows, but that's not what we see. So what we do know is the moon is emitting a cold light. That's bizarre. That's supernatural. That's weird, man. When you actually get into that concept, it's very strange, you know. So the moon is not what we've been told it is. It's not just some rock floating around reflecting the sunlight. It's something else. It's energy of a sort, and it emits its own special type of light. That's freaky. Like, when you really get into it, that is freaky. Okay. I put $5 US. Is that okay, Paul? That's fine, Eric. Yeah. I'm not that picky. $5 is fine, or £5, whatever it is. You know, just chuck it in and you're in. It's fine, as long as it's five. Five's the minimum. Okay. They just made it legal to use ayahuasca for medicinal purposes in the States, perhaps to help the coming disclosure. I think probably, yeah. Oh yeah, the whole everyone will be on drugs when the when disclosure is truly given to us. Absolutely, I think so. My people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Jeremiah 2:13. Interesting. living water or empty cisterns. He said, "Oh Lord, there are many around the drinking trough, but there is nothing in the cistern." Thomas, yeah. So living water references. Yeah, I mean, the living water to me is Jesus. He's the wellspring of eternal life. I should be in the draw, right, too, says Troll Corset. You are in the draw, I think, Troll Corset, yeah. Did you donate? Let me just check quickly here. Yeah, 50 sec. Yeah, you're in. Absolutely. Like I said, anybody who did donate over $5, you're in. You're in. That's it. You're in the draw at the end, and I'll do a spin. Obviously, Connor's done one for the final unit and Avanti Design. They're both in as well. So yeah, absolutely. And again, if you do want to pay for somebody else, just make that clear in your comments, and you can fund somebody else in the chat to also be in the draw as well. It'll just be an extra $5, obviously. So that's just how it works. But thanks so far for everyone doing this. Yeah, and it's to get a signed copy of hardcover of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. I have one left from this batch. The other one, I think someone wants that. They did email me. I just need to get that chain finished and respond and everything else. So just one left. I thought it would be fun. It is fun. It's a bit of fun, and spinning the wheel at the end is always really tense and cool as well. So we're doing that. But yeah, guys, I'll come back to the chat and then I'll do my final spiel, my final little rager, shall we say, on how they are not like us. They are just not. They're not. But first of all, some men drown while others die of thirst, says the Cult of Con. Exactly. You get it. This guy gets it. 6G will work with DMT. That sounds trippy. Probably. Yeah, sounds about right, doesn't it? Paul, don't worry, I do not trust the space moon landing narrative. I'm only saying that more and more are there knowledge gaps between people. Yeah, well, I think in a way they are rewriting history through events like this in real time, by just ignoring that they went already and just saying this is a new thing that's happening for younger generations. I think a lot of older generations are dying out who lived through that type of thing. The first moon landing, Neil Armstrong and all that. His generation are dying and disappearing. And it wouldn't surprise me if they try and make out that never happened and that that was fake. But now we're really going to the moon. And what you saw with Artemis 2 was the first real mission where they tested out going around the moon. And the next thing we need to do is actually land. And then the real first moon landing will happen in like 20 years' time or 10 years' time or something. And they'll rewrite history as though that was fake. That's just something they did during the Cold War to try and convince the Russians that we actually landed there during the arms race situation. But the real one did actually happen in 2030. You know what I mean? We really did land on the moon. And something like that. They'll rewrite the history books to fit the current narrative to inspire a new generation into the lie that we, of course, can go to space. And they'll always have to do that. And as older generations die off, they can rewrite the history, because who's going to be able to be around to fight back and say, I remember when it was this or anything. That's just how they do it. They're always changing history with every generation, doing this consistently. The Rockefellers write the school books and the rest of it, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, they write all the curriculums, and they are basically just making shit up. And it's hard to know what our true history is because of this, unfortunately. But there'll always be some people around to remember the past. And I think at one point they may have thrown thousands of people into insane asylums to shut them up for that very reason, if the Millennial Kingdom theory holds much weight, which I think it does. You and Anthony of Westgate should do a collab. That would be a good mashup. Never heard of him. I don't know what that means or what that would look like. I'll check it out at your behest, though. Familiar spirits have been connected to our ancestors and know our lineage better than us. I'm not sure what you mean exactly or why you said that. I would say in terms of familiar spirits, I guess you mean demons who have followed us for centuries know a lot about our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and going back throughout the generations. Are you implying you can communicate with them to find out the truth? Is that what you mean? Because I would be very wary about contacting the dead. I don't think you can contact dead family members for information. I think demons can pretend to be your dead relatives, but they're demons. They are the disembodied spirits of Nephilim, who, again, as familiar spirits, have been around with every generation and know all your family intimately and can pretend to be them very convincingly because they know exactly who they were because they were around their entire life, oppressing and or possessing them, you know. So I think that's what we have to remember and always be careful of. It's not for us to talk to the dead, and I don't think our ancestor spirits are what we believe they are. Many cultures believe they are. I don't think we can talk to the dead. I think demons have done a very good job of convincing many cultures so that you can. That's a part of the grand delusion. So just remember that. Just be wary of that. That's my theory, and that's why I'm always skeptical of that type of thing. But I'm not sure what exactly you meant there, so, you know, I'll leave that. I'm not going to make any more judgments on what you meant by that. Hollywood movies will introduce the new history, of course. Exactly, Shirley Spirit. You get it. You get it. We supposedly went there 5 more times after the first time with Neil Armstrong. Yeah, I know. I do remember hearing all of that. But yeah, I'm not buying we went there at all, to be honest, personally. We compose and composers are relatives, so we must stay away from it. Yeah, no, absolutely. So you do get it then. You do understand. Yeah, just be careful. Anyone listening who doesn't realize, you know, I don't know what culture you may come from, your heritage, your native lands, or whatever your society that you grew up in is. But if it's a culture that believes you can communicate with the ancestors for knowledge or wisdom, I think it's a huge lie. I think it is. And I think it's a convincing one because demons can mimic your relatives very easily. And we need to be wary of that. And I know people don't want to hear that. They may think, who's this white guy talking about my culture, you know? And I get a lot of backlash like that from the Nephilim Clown research. But I want you to know I do not discriminate based on culture. They're all equally susceptible to failure in my eyes, including my own, including the Celtic and the Germanic cultures and the Picts and the rest of it, you know, they're all, and the Vikings, whatever culture that is, European or Indian or African or South American or Native American, North American, or be it Aboriginals, wherever you are, your culture's all full of shit. Yeah, it's all just demons lying to you. And I don't discriminate. They're all equally as corrupt as the other. That's where I stand, okay? Absolutely. My great-grandmother, after she died, my mum claimed she came to her and told her not to take anything for granted in this physical reality, and that truly life is a gift. Okay, I mean, maybe that happened. Probably not. I mean, you have to remember as well, people can see things and make things, and the mind is a powerful thing. Okay, that is true. And I think demons are very ready to take advantage of that at any moment. And if that demon can get your mother believing that dead people are floating around like ghosts and can come visit you and say stuff to you at any moment, then they've already got you believing a delusion. They might come and say really nice things to you to get you to believe it. That doesn't mean it's true. But what it has done is got you to believe that that is the case. Okay, and that's where the real delusions can begin. That's where you get into seances and to divination and to tarot cards and to divining through the stars, and all sorts of things start getting involved. You know, because you think the dead are out there for you to communicate with. My grandmother came to me and told me this. You know, it's like it must be true. They said such wonderful, beautiful things. Demons wouldn't say stuff like that, would they? And that's where they get you. You've opened the door then. And then these things will pose as beings of light to get you to let them in. Because they want a body at the end of the day. So just be careful. Just be really careful with that kind of thing, you know. Again, I'm not sure what you believe. I'm not disparaging you personally. It's more for the listeners, okay? Just to make that clear. And now the fact of 5 times more moon landings is being forgotten over time is sort of shocking that I was sort of experiencing 1948-84 thing. Yeah, well, I think they're always rewriting history with every generation. I mean, to be honest, I mean, if you're a parent and you send your kids into the schools, do you really know what they're being taught in the textbooks? Do you really reread the entire history textbook they've been given? Or do you trust that they're being taught what you were taught when you were in school about what happened in World War One or World War Two or the Battle of Hastings, whatever it is they're talking about, Do you just implicitly trust that they're getting the correct truth, history, because it's authority? Of course they're teaching the kids the truth. Why wouldn't they teach them anything otherwise, But realistically, they can make changes, and then your children can grow up believing something completely different that you believed, and something completely different from what your grandparents were taught, and no one ever talked to each other to find that out, and as a result, the next generation gets taught the lie, and it just keeps spinning and going and going. And that's how they do it, through minor incremental changes, deleting things here, moving things there, getting rid of a statue over there, removing that placard over here, changing the date on this rock over there, and eventually over time, you never existed. It never existed, or something like this, So you got to be careful. They can't delete everything. It's more about attention as well. Working to guide your attention, and if as long as an authority figure says something to you, you'll tend to just believe it as gospel truth and fact, and they know that. And you'll probably never go out to seek the truth yourself, and maybe just read a different book that says, actually, it's more likely this. Why would I do that? I already got taught in school what that is. I don't need to read a book about somebody trying to tell me it's something else. I already know what it is. That's how we are as people. We fall into comfy categories and understandings, and we don't feel like we want to do the work again to relearn stuff naturally. And obviously, not you guys. That's probably all you do every single day, just like me. So we're in our own little echo chamber over here doing this, I suppose. Paul, have you heard the supposedly true story about the I am all colours Sam, the Sandown clown? I have, yeah, the two children who come across a little shed in the middle of a field, and in there is this weird looking being with a triangle and a circle and a square and a white face mouth with a microphone and a tape cassette recorder who communicates through it. I've heard of the Sandown clown. I will be writing about it in the next book, the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns, Volume 2. It will be brought up. It is going to be in there. I'm going to put it under the pop culture category, simply because of the folk tale-ish nature of it, and the possibility that it might be made up by children's wild imaginations, for all we know. But it's certainly an interesting one that fits in the category of what I've been talking about. Yeah, I've heard of Sandown Clown, absolutely. I remember that they constantly update our school books. Yeah, exactly. There are 16 new or only kind of clouds now. Yeah, they're always inventing new types of cloud, aren't they? Yeah, absolutely, to cover up for what we see up there. We are being governed by satanic psychopaths intent on destroying us as hell's bells. I couldn't put it better myself. You're probably right there. Until you accept the possession, the mad houses that the point of the electroshock can never believe another truth. They look first on frequency for an entity, says Morgan. Not sure what you said there exactly, but yeah, they did some horrible things to people in the insane asylums. They certainly did, to make them forget stuff and shut up, basically, and lobotomize them and make sure they never spread the truth about what they saw ever again. Yeah, that stuff really did happen. That did it, and it's really horrible when you actually look into it. Anyway, quick random rant just to smooth off this show, and then we'll put everyone's names into the prize draw. So last chance, guys, to get into the prize draw. No, we're on now. Last 15 minutes of the show. $5, you get in, and your name will go into a big spinny wheel, which we'll share live on the screen. And if it lands on you, I'm sending you this book signed by myself. Just email me, send me your shipping details, and I'll send it straight out to you. And that's it. You've got to be in it to win it. $5 minimum entry. Get a super chat in right now, guys, and you're in the draw. So there we go. That's the current fun little competition we're doing, just to make this show a bit more spicy, a bit more fun, a bit more interesting, get some skin in the game, as they say. And it's just a bit of fun. It's a bit of fundraising for me as well. I take quite a few days off, explained at the start of the show, a bit of a retrospective week for me. And yeah, that's it. That's the excuse. But anyway, trailing off from the previous thing we were talking about, the people who put on these shows for us, like Artemis 2. Or even if you look outside of that and you look at the world stage, okay, these people we call our leaders, the politicians, the presidents, the prime ministers, the grand whatever, like they all have their own thing, the kings, the queens, the glorious leaders, and all the rest of it, the ayatollahs or whatever. Just name a type of leader you have leading a country on a world stage scenario. All the members of the European Unions, you got your I don't know, the names are always changing, they're always foreign, and it doesn't matter. Pick one, it doesn't matter who it is. I think they're all actors. That's what I'm getting down to. That's the fact. I'm going to give you the conclusion of my entire speech straight away. Let's cut to the chase. It's fake. They are all actors. And even these people who go on stage and pretend to fly up to space, they're in on it. They are also paid, bought for, secret society members, friends of rich, influential characters who are in the business of faking our reality through the medias they control. The media is a weapon. It is a tool to make you believe a specific reality they want you to believe is the thing you're living in. And they do that through repetition and imagery on a screen. And the actors on those screens are pretending to be your leaders, are pretending to be the team that was chosen to fly around the moon, for example. Okay? And we wonder, how's that possible? Surely people wouldn't do that. They couldn't get away with it. No one would know. Like, we would know if they were actors. They're living this whole life where everyone knows who they are. And it's kind of, no. They can get away with it. They are getting away with it. They are not us. They are not like us. They do not live on the same plane we live on. They do not live the same life me and you live. They are not in the same circles as me and you. They are in a very special club. They are above everything that we have to live within. They created the entire narrative that most people live under. They created all the systems that we are currently under the thumb of. They create the books. They write the history books. They create the media. They write the songs. They put on the show. They are the showrunners of the stage we call planet Earth. And they are orchestrating the entire thing. They are the directors and the producers and the casting directors and the actors of the world stage. And they are in secret societies we call things like Freemasonry, the Odd Fellows, the Jesuit orders, even the Catholic orders. When you get even higher, so you go into all of it, they're all in on it. Name a secret society and whatever umbrella category branch you want to name, they're all in on it. They write the scripts and we follow them. They hire the actors and the actors perform for us. But they are playing roles that we, as far as we are concerned, are real people with real lives who have real influence over us. Okay, but they are just currently playing that role. The biggest clue that put me onto this, realistically, was the Odd Fellows. And I've talked about this before, and I think you need to really drive home this point. If you look at the Odd Fellows, which is a sister organization of Freemasonry, they'll say they're unaffiliated and it's a separate organization, but it's bullshit. They're all in on it. Every single one of them are connected. They share a lot of the same members, Freemasonry and the Odd Fellows. None more prominent than Albert Pike himself, the creator of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the master mason who wrote Morals and Dogma, which lays out all the degrees of Freemasonry in black and white for everyone to see. He too was an Odd Fellow. Okay? And so was P.T. Barnum, Phineas Taylor Barnum, the man who invented the modern circus, the great charlatan, the one who's equated with that quote, "There's a sucker born every minute," even though he didn't technically say that. But he was mentioned in a court case involving him defrauding people into believing that he had a real giant on display when he didn't. He stole the idea from somebody else and made a paper mache model. The whole thing's just a complete mess. But either way, that psychopathic, narcissistic weirdo who invented the 3-ring circus, which 3 interlocking rings is the main logo for the Oddfellows, if you didn't realise. Well, this showrunner is rubbing shoulders with other members of this odd fraternity called the Oddfellows, who also had King George V as a member. And almost every president and senator you can imagine has been a member. Prime ministers of Canada, European prime ministers and presidents, kings, have all been members of this throughout history and still are. Powerful, influential world leaders with militaries and everything behind them, mixing and schmoozing and laughing and having fraternal brotherly love, shall we say, with Charlie Chaplin, Burl Ives, random wrestlers, just random actors and musicians of D-list or C-list or A-list category, whatever it is. Why the hell are actors and performers in the same fraternal order as kings and prime ministers? Probably because they're all actors. All of them. And some in these fraternities are hired to go play the role of a real person. And everybody is, as far as everybody else is concerned, you really are the King of England. Okay. But you're just following our script that we write for you. And then some members of this fraternity, well, your job is to go out there and actually play the role of an actor. And you're going to do the fictional stuff. And you're going to go in the films and the movies that we write that brainwash the masses. And you'll be worshipped as a god, as an idol, a great actor who plays many roles in all these wonderful movies. But the greatest role you're playing is that you're actually one of us, pretending to be this great actor with this fake name we give you. And when you're done, we'll kill you, and you'll have a glorious death, worthy of a god that will immortalize you forever. Then you can come back to us in your old age, and we'll send you out there as maybe a real actor this time. You can go play the prime minister of this little country over here in the middle of nowhere. But you work for us, and always will until you die. Don't forget what we've got on you. Don't forget that videotape. And that's the rub, isn't it? That's how they get away with this. Many of them love it. Because like I said, they're not like us. They actually enjoy the power of fooling billions of people into believing they're something that they're not. That power it gives them, that sense of identity of look at these idiots, they're all buying it. I own them, that type of attitude. They love it, they thrive off it, they need that, they need it, and they will do anything they can to keep hold of it, whether it's real or fake or whatever, they don't care. The adulation, the respect they get, the power they get over others, the duper's delight for fooling billions and millions of people, for having such a sway over their psyche. Oh yeah, they're fully in for it. They'll keep going. And you won't have to pay them a dime. They don't get paid anyway. They're above all of that. Money's not a concern for these people. They print the money. They don't care. This is a game to them. This is fun. This is what they do to pass the time. They are not like us. While we're struggling to buy food and barely get to work because we can't afford the fuel to get us there, they're pretending to be world leaders and having a laugh. Like, they are not like us. We're not the same. They'll gladly go onto the TV and pretend to fly around the moon. And what happens when they come back? The whole world thinks they're heroes. And they never went anywhere. They didn't even fall out of that plane with a parachute, probably. They were just quickly boated to it, hopped off the boat, got into it, closed the shutter, boat drives away, cameras suddenly turn up. It's just landed, guys. And they open the shutter. Oh, we're here, we made it. Yeah, whatever. Like, these people don't have to lift a finger. They don't have to do anything. Like, it's all a show. How did they get away with it? Well, the people who own the camera crew, the chopper that put them there, the plane that dropped them off, they're all in on it. They're all a part of this giant club that you are not a part of. And they all keep each other's secrets. They don't break it. They don't break their oath. They don't. You, what they call the profane masses, will never be in on the secret. They'll never publicly admit any of it. They'll deny everything I've just said if ever confronted about it. And they'll call me crazy for saying it. To the very end. I guarantee it. They are not like us. They don't care. They don't care about our opinions either. They are high on their own supply. Like, they seriously think they are gods among us. And how can you blame them, considering what I just said and what they're getting away with and what they're doing to us? Like, they really do. Like, in some cases, maybe they genuinely believe they deserve the adulation they get from the ignorant masses who eat it all up. They probably have this narcissistic god complex where they've convinced the whole world that they're one person when they know they're not. And that makes them feel like, well, I deserve this because I am so great. I am the master deceiver. I can do this type of thing. I am powerful. They lose themselves. They give themselves over to a reprobate mind. They become those things. And maybe God even gives them over to their delusion and lets them really believe they are that powerful mogul that they think they are. God knows they're nothing. Because that's the other sad thing about these people. Many of the ones who get recruited into it, many I think it's generational, are born into it, you know. But those who get recruited into this type of thing, they're a certain type of person. Weak, pathetic loser is probably the best way to describe them. They don't have friends. They don't have influence. They don't have power. They don't have anything. They're lonely. So they join a fraternity, thinking they might get some friends. And those people are malleable. Those people are desperate. Those people will do anything for some companionship. And these are the people these secret societies prey on to recruit and bulk out their numbers. Probably less so. More so these days, it's generational, because the lies are so interwoven and deep that they have to keep it within the families now to keep the secret going and to shut up and hush hush. Less outside influence, the better now, because we're deep into it. I imagine that's the situation we're under. I imagine it is. But people always say, like, oh, how could they do this? How could they get so many people to agree with the lie? It's kind of like, it's easily. They say that with such smug conviction, like it means something. There's no way they can get that many people to go along with the lie, you know what I mean? It's just impossible. It's like, no, it's not. There's your response. No, it isn't. It's easy. Just use your imagination for 1 fucking second and you'll see. It's very easy. Doesn't take much thinking to imagine how they do this. It doesn't. But these people that say that kind of stuff, they're not interested in thinking. They don't want to think. They did all their thinking in school. They're past that now. Anyway, I'll leave that there before I get too far off the rails. Right, guys, it's time. It's time for the prize draw. I'll give you literally 2 more minutes now. If you want to enter the draw, now's your chance. I'm going to cut you off in 2 minutes. And then I'm going to have to go put the names in the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel and find out who wins, okay? But if you want to get in the draw for a signed copy of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns, $5 super chat right now. Get it in, and then I can get you on the list, okay? I'm going to be writing the list in a minute. Get it in. Now's your chance. And I'm going to go. I'll be gone. I'll be playing some music for you in the background, okay? But I'm going to go now, and I'm going to set up the website and get the names entered. And I'll come back, and if you've been donating in that time while you do it, I'll try and get you on the list, okay? But now's your chance. Go for it. And I'll be back in about 5 minutes with the spinny thing. And we'll announce who wins this copy. A signed copy of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. Okay, so I'll be back in a minute. I'll play another song for you guys from the album. It's got to be a longish one, so I'm going to play you my piano piece. It's just a bit of ambient music, and I'll be back as soon as I can, within the next 3 minutes, probably. And we can spin the wheel. So here we go. Okay, guys, we're ready to go. The wheel is set. Let me quickly just share the screen with you guys here. And let's see what we can do. Let me just quickly move this across. I don't know what that is. Here we go. All the names are on the wheel, as we can see. Let me just zoom in here, get it all dramatic and cool looking. Let's just spin that in here. There we go. This is the wheel. Those are the names of everybody involved in the draw. And we're just going to go for it. All right, we're just going to... Shall we do this? Shall we do a countdown? No? I'm not going to bother with a countdown. Fine. We'll just go. We'll just go and let's see who wins this one. We're on the 2-hour mark now, so let's spin the wheel. It's going to be... Who's it going to be? Let's have a look. It is... Mackenzie I3S. Mackenzie I3S. You were the last person to donate and get into the draw. You have to be in it to win it. You got in last minute and you won. That's fantastic, Mackenzie I3S. Congratulations to you. That's wonderful news. You've got a signed copy of the Nephilim Looked Like Clowns coming your way. Hardcover edition, sent from this office by yours truly. Let me just quickly remove this because it's taking up all my bandwidth. There we go. Mackenzie I3S, you won. Email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com with your shipping information, and I can get that out to you as soon as possible. Congratulations to you. Thanks to everybody who took part. Better luck next time. There'll be another draw, another day, no doubt. It happens randomly. Maybe you'll catch it, maybe you won't. Who knows? It's the mystery of Understanding Conspiracy. You just don't know what's going to happen. It's always a wild ride here. A wild ride here at the Truther Therapy Sessions. But there we go, guys. That one goes to Mackenzie. Again, email me. We can get it sorted. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble and rave. I just need to get some things off my chest. It was more of a therapy session for me than it was for you, to be honest. But I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back, as usual, on Wednesday for a live Q&A. And I might drop a video tomorrow. I don't know. Depends how I'm feeling. I might do, I might not. But the schedule's out of the window these days, but we'll see. But I'll definitely be back soon. I'm not going anywhere. Thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.